was that this concept is referred to as divine absence, and more non-Christians seem to have written about it as a literary exercise than Christians as a theological necessity. As I began to dig deeper, I saw the language and reality of divine absence everywhere, from Adam to Moses, the Psalms to the prophets, and even Jesus and his disciples. I found that not only could God be absent, but that God was absent many times throughout Scripture. Why was nobody talking about this? Since so many of us often feel far from God, wouldn't understanding what Scripture says about his absence be crucial? After about 4 years of studying this material on my own, I was approached about writing a book. The wonderful woman who would become my friend and literary agent asked if I had anything I wanted to write about, and God's absence was burning at the tip of my tongue. I know what it is like to feel like God has abandoned you. Coming from a broken home, I have felt the sting of absence and the desperation of loss. I know what it's like to almost scream at the walls of your room in prayer, hoping that something will escape them and get to God's ear, even though you're pretty certain he's not listening. I know what it is like to be bombarded with feelings of distance, only to be handed fluffy platitudes of nearness. So, if you will allow me to walk you through the journey that I have been on, I will show you what the Bible has to say about God's absence and how these truths actually lead us into a sweeter experience of and a desire for his presence. I will show you that God feels absent because he is present. We will walk through why God must be absent and why his absence is actually a form of grace. You'll see how it is possible for God to be present everywhere, yet still be absent all around us. We'll see why the closer we draw to God, the farther he feels. I'll tell you about how God uses absence and presence to orchestrate the events of the world and draw more desire and love out of us. We will take a look at our churches and worship services and see how we can properly understand God's presence and absence within those settings. You will discover how absence relates to pain and suffering, as well as spiritual darkness. Finally, I will demonstrate to you how the gospel simultaneously defeats absence while still increasing our experience of it. God is absent in the way we most desire, but present in the way we most require. This is the mystery we will uncover throughout this book, why God is not here and why he is never going away. I pray this journey breaks down barriers in your mind and heart and lets you see that God is farther than you think and closer than you dare to imagine. Section 1. Why God isn't there. Always, usually, maybe, never. God is always absent. God is usually absent. God may be absent. God is never absent. All 4 of these statements are true. All 4 of these statements are true at the same time. All 4 of these statements are true at the same time without any contradiction. Always, usually, maybe, never. And the only way we will ever come to terms with this idea, which is seemingly inconsistent, is if we give up the preconception that our God is static. Because sometimes God is present, and sometimes God is absent. And at all times, he is all things, because God is always dynamic. He can be nowhere on earth, yet is omnipresent. He can choose to be transparent to one, but to another be resplendent. He can be itinerant in some respects, and yet in others be a resident. He is the transcendent Father who, in his Son, is immensely immanent. God's presence and absence may seem to be in competition, but that is only because we are viewing them with the limits of our own cognition. 4. God is not physically here right now. He is always absent in his actuality. God is not often seen with human eyes. He is usually absent in his visibility. God is not present with the lost as he is with the saved. He may be absent relationally.